So about a week ago, A&E did a story on their true crime blog, Stories and News, which is linked in the description below, about Stephen Avery and the Making a Murderer case. I just did a video on what Stephen Avery's life is like in prison, according to the article. They do have an interview with Sandy Greenman, who is Stephen Avery's ex-fiancée, who, if you watched Making a Murder, you will definitely recognize. She still keeps in touch very much with Stephen Avery to this day. She has a Facebook group she runs, which is linked in the description below, so go check that out. And she posts letters that Stephen Avery writes to his supporters. She often brings Stephen Avery's father to the prison to visit Stephen, so she still, probably more than anyone else, has a lot of contact with Stephen Avery to this day. But the next part of this article talks about what Stephen Avery's next steps are. I have talked about this before, but this is a new article about it, and I always like to bring the most up-to-date information that I can about the case. It's the article, again, is linked in the description below on ANETV.com. It states, Stephen Avery's next steps. Avery is currently represented, as we know, by attorney Kathleen Zellner. In January 2022, Zellner stated she has plans to file a new petition which includes a huge amount of evidence. If you follow Kathleen Zellner on Twitter, I'll link that in the description as well. She often posts updates about her cases, including Stephen Avery's case, which is probably at this point her most high-profile case. She has recently taken on Johnny Depp as a client as well, but the most of her stuff is about Making a Murderer and Stephen Avery. So go give her a follow on Twitter and check that out. It states in November 2021, the Wisconsin Supreme Court declined to review Stephen Avery's case. Zellner petitioned the state's highest court after a state appeals court ruled that Avery's various claims, including ineffective counsel and evidence mishandling, were not enough to merit a hearing. How is evidence mishandling not enough to merit a hearing? I'll tell you when that's not enough. When the police are trying to cover up everything that they did, and they're like, hey judge, can you push this one through? Can you let this one slide? Allegedly. And that's how it doesn't merit a hearing, when the level of corruption is allegedly that high. They just don't want to be shown for everything that they do. It's going to take a court, I don't know exactly how it works, but it's going to take a court outside of Wisconsin looking at this, or somebody outside of the state of Wisconsin looking at this case, to finally be able to bring it back to court. There's a quote here from Sandy Greenman. It states, if you're so sure that you have the right man in prison, and you know it without a shadow of a doubt, what are you afraid of? Solid question. Why not give him another trial with another jury and all the proof out there? And if he's convicted of murder again, we'll shut up and go away. But they don't want that. They don't want to do the court again. There's so much. You would think, with the amount of speculation of evidence tampering, cover-ups, all of this stuff, that the police, that the state, the government officials, everybody would want to clear their names to prove that Stephen Avery was indeed guilty, but they know that it's not going to happen a second time if everything goes on the up and up, which, I mean, who knows? It probably wouldn't even go on the up and up the second time around either, but there would be much more attention to it, so things would be much more scrutinized, I think, this time around. But yeah, why don't they do that? What are you scared of? It's one person, one trial. Do it. Prove you're right. Greenman still raises concerns about various factors in Stephen Avery's case, including whether the bones in the burn pit belonged to Teresa Halbach and why they were given to her family in 2011. Sandy Greenman states, Stephen Avery is not acting with only himself in mind. He's more interested in justice than his own case. He wants to do something to stop this from ever happening to anybody else, because Teresa Halbach has not gotten justice either. I think yesterday, maybe the day before, was Teresa Halbach's birthday, and I do think she often gets overlooked in all of this because of the injustice and the wrongful conviction of the two people that were charged and convicted. I do truly hope, like I said in the last video, that Teresa Halbach gets the justice she deserves, that her family gets the justice she deserves, but they need to get it from the right people, not the wrong people. the right people need to be convicted of the crime. Not people that had nothing to do with it. Not a 16-year-old child, Brendan Dassey, that had absolutely nothing to do with it. It's plain as day he had nothing to do with it. And you would think that the parents would want the correct people in prison for this crime. If everyone is so certain that Brendan and Stephen committed this crime, give them another trial. Shut everybody up. Prove we're all wrong. Because of all of the... It's not like this case is like this little tiny thing going on in some backwoods town of Wisconsin. This is worldwide. And something over 40, 50 million people have watched Making a Murderer. You would think that the police, the detectives, the government, whoever, would want to clear their name and prove once and for all that everything they did was correct. They're not going to do that because they know they can't do it. So that's what Stephen Avery's next steps are. Leave some comments below. What do you think? Hope you're all having a great day. I'll see you again soon.